Okay, so I think that backing is a super important skill for a horse to be a citizen. It comes in handy, you know, under saddle, loading and unloading in the trailer, fitting into small spaces, and it just creates a lot of mental discipline, as well as it also creates physical strength in the horse, over the horse's loins and in their back, and so that preserves your hocks and your back as well. So first things first, when you have a horse, you know, that doesn't really know how to back up, you're going to want to start with some like body language type of things to teach them to move away from pressure without having physical touch on them too much. So one of the things you can do is you can actually take the horse, you can have them facing you dead on, and you can just kind of start to wiggle your rope and just get more aggressive until they take a step back. Then you just give them a release of pressure. So if they come towards me, I'm just going to wiggle my rope back. But same thing, I start gentle, keep going, bigger, 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 step into them, release on the step back. So we'll do that once more. So you're just going to kind of, and you'll just improve on this skill. So it's not perfect, but the cool part is I can take his attention back to me just by kind of tugging on the rope a little bit. And so once again, always make sure you start small and build your cue bigger. So just start with a little wiggle and then get bigger and bigger. Oh. Good boy. So now he kind of understands moving from pressure. I'm not going to, you know, overreact to what he did stepping out to the side, because I'm just focused on what he's doing right. I'm not focused on what he's doing wrong. So then, next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to, another way you could do that kind of is you just kind of walk up to him, one hand on either side. And just kind of feather your fingers so that they can see you on both sides. So that'll get them out of your space. So those are just two ways that you can do it without ever actually having true physical contact with the horse. So then next, backing in hand with the halter. You're just basically going to want to take the lead rope. You're going to want to bring it straight back to them until a foot moves. Now, if your horse gets stuck, you can focus on one foot at a time. So I'm going to focus on this foot, and I'm going to take the rope, and I'm going to bring it to that point of that shoulder, step into him, and back him. If he didn't want to back, something I could do is just kind of put the pressure on, and then I can just kind of tap him till he picks up that foot. So that's one of the ways you can back in hand with actually having a little bit of contact and having a bit of pull. And it's important before you go to get on the horse or before you put them in a predicament where you're going to have to pull, that you do teach them that too, because sometimes I see people use too much body language and then they go up to the saddle and you can't stand in front of your horse and do it there. You also can't, you know, do that in a small confine in a trailer. So I want to make sure that they're responsive as well to backing in hand. So the next part I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to my horse to back with the bridle on in response to the bit pressure with no body language. So I'm just going to put his bridle on him. He's super insecure. This horse is actually kind of he's got a runaway story. He's got a real big backstory. So not everything is perfect right now. And backing is going to come in super handy in keeping control of him in the future. So first things first, I want to know, before I do this in hand, that my horse will travel around me in a circle with a go forward cue. I also want to know that I can take my rein, disengage his hindquarters, both sides. Now the reason being, because if a horse stalls up, we're going to use some of these techniques to get them to backing in hand with just the bridle pressure. So I'm just going to move that hip. Good. Okay. So now we're just going to test him out. I'm going to connect this part of his mouth to this foot. So this side, this rein. So I just want that foot to back. Step. There. Good. Release. Now I'm going to build on that. 1, 2. Right now, all I'm focused on is the mouth to foot connection. I'm not focused on what his head is doing. I'm focused on the fact that I can take that rein, drive it back, and get that foot to move backwards. I'm going to do one side, then I'm going to do the other. I'm going to free him up just by sending him, oops. by sending him around me. Disengage his hindquarter. Now he's in almost a prime position, not so much anymore. But now I'm going to connect this rein to this foot. Take it, drive it back, release. Now I wouldn't be connecting this side of his mouth to his feet properly if I was to give him a release on that first back. So I got to give him a release on this foot, the same rein, same leg. Good. And once again, I'm just going to build on that. Good. So now say I have a horse that is super, has a hard time picking his feet up. I can actually use the horse's body to my advantage by sending him around, disengaging his hindquarter, waiting for that foot to have to take a step, and taking him back. So I'm just going to build one step at a time, one side of his mouth at a time. Send him around, get him freed up. Disengage right about where that foot wants to take a step. Use it to take a step back. Now notice here, I'm using mostly rein pressure because that's what's going to be in the saddle and that's what's going to save my life. You can get the same effect by stepping into them usually, but I can't step into them when I'm in the saddle. So everything I do on the ground has to transfer at some point to the saddle. If I don't connect the reins to the pole, to the feet, then I'm not going to have control when I get in the saddle. So those are just some tips, and you just build one step at a time. So you'll start with expecting one step, then you'll want to expect 2 steps, 3, 4, 5, until you have a proficient backing horse.